are the biggest things that we've been losing a lot of. And one of the things that you can do for that is to always make sure that you do have what you need. At the beginning of the day, we always do our tool check. Well, we should be. We always should be looking in the side box, just double checking that we have everything that we need. You know, like I said, the tools, the shovels, everything. What we need you to be doing is to also, before you leave every job, regardless of whether you used it or not, just open up your side box, take a quick glance. That's gonna be the surefire way that you don't forget your shovel, you don't forget your dolly. We go down there right now. Last week I didn't have a dolly. It took me 5 trucks before I found a truck with a dolly. That's the kind of epidemic that we're running into here. So basically what I wanted to just talk about is just your side box maintenance, truck maintenance in general for like keeping everything clean. So best practices for that are just like I said, just glancing, making sure you have everything. If you don't, be like, oh, did you grab the dolly? Oh, let me go grab it real quick because we probably left it in the basement, left it in the garage, whatever. Because sometimes the customer will call into the call center, call you guys back and say you forgot something, but half the time they don't. So if that dolly's lost, you know, it's lost, and that really sucks because those are expensive dollies and we don't always know right away that they're gone. So people complain that, oh, we're not outfitting the trucks right. We just need to stop losing stuff, guys. So that's one of the biggest problems. Second point is tools go in the toolbox, right? So you'll go look into the side box, and in a lot of these trucks, there's just stuff everywhere in the side box. What we need to start getting back to is if you need a tool out of your side box, take the toolbox out, set it on the ground, grab your screwdriver, grab your pliers, go in the house, you know, do your thing, put it back in the toolbox and back into the truck. You don't want to have just tools laying everywhere in the side box. It makes everything very cluttered, and that's how you lose things. Next thing you know, all the screwdrivers you need get pushed way back underneath where all the tools go into, and you're not getting those. Nobody has arms skinny and long enough to get back there. So always just make sure that you're putting your tools back where they belong. That same goes with, like I've said before, your credit card swipes and your chargers. After you're done with the credit card swipe, put it back into the pouch. Back into the pouch, you're never gonna forget where it is because it's always gonna be in the pouch. Just put the pouch somewhere like in the dash or inside the tin so you always know where that is as well. So those are the first couple things I want to talk about. Next and lastly is just how to organize a side box. And for that, we're going to actually go out into the bay, and I'm going to show you how to put tools into the side box in a way that makes sense. We have all these tools on the bottom. That's kind of what I want to get us away from doing. Because while they may be easily accessible, those are easy to lose, easy to break, you know, whatever. So for this demonstration, the point of putting your tools in the side box is to make it easily accessible for the things that you use all the time. When we have all the rakes and everything right up front, we have to dig through the side box to get our brooms out, get our shovels out, and that's just kind of annoying. It's best if you put them in a way that's accessible, like I said, from the least used to the to the most used. First off, with your spaded shovel, it'll fit in the bottom like this with the spaded part down. You just put it in the bottom. You never use that. Let's be honest here. How many times have you actually used that shovel? Maybe once, maybe
never
a couple times. You never use it, so just keep it at the bottom where it's not in the way ever. Next, with these guys, you can put them on the side on the top rung with this guy hooked. That way it doesn't fall back. If you put them on the bottom, sometimes they can get pushed back, so it's not the best idea for the bottom. Which brings us to the sledgehammer. When you put it in the sledgehammer, never put it in the top rungs. The top rungs are where it can fall and hit somebody in the hand. What you want to do is just put it through one of the rungs, push it back flat on the bottom. That way, there's no chance it's going to fall out and hit any hand. There's no chance it's going to, I don't know, do anything like that. So then with your rakes, it doesn't really matter which rake you put in first, but both the rakes need to go all the way to the left side, and they will fit. So you just put it in, push it back like that, put it in the same rung, push it back. All the rakes are on the left side, out of the way, because you rarely ever use those two. You do use them, but not as much but not as often as warrants having them like right up front. Then with your other broom, you can just put it all the way to the right, out of the way. And then when it comes to your shovel and your other broom, it doesn't really matter how you put those in because you use those all the time anyways. But you just want to make sure that you put them in top rungs, like this. And don't put them in the outside rungs because that makes them harder to get to. That's how you pack a side box.
James, you want to talk about what you're doing? Once again, I know you touched on it, but just stating once again, at the end of each job, you break tools out.
Yeah, even if you break them out or not, just give your truck a once over. You're not going to come back to that house ever again, probably. So you're not going to get a second chance unless you forget it and come back and hopefully they're there if you left in their basement or whatever. Just give it a quick once over. It doesn't take long to open your side box, glance in, and be like, oh, something's missing in here. Figuring out what that is and going and grabbing it. Because chances are you just left it like you left your sledgehammer in the room you were beating a desk in or something. So, but the worst is when you don't have it when you need it. And that's the biggest problem, is just having the tools when you need them is key for this job. Like we talked about with the dollies, when you need one of the most important tools is your four-wheel dolly for a lot of moving. If you lose it, it really hinders your ability to do your job safely and effectively, and most importantly, to safely. With the tarps, always fold them up, and don't grab these tarps that are like 20 feet by 20 feet, because they don't fold up very well, don't fit in the side box very well, and they're not very useful. If the tarp is way too big for us to really use, then it's kind of useless in the side box. So I know you guys see the tarps, you want to grab them, but those big ones just aren't very effective. There's not a very good way to put things in the side box over there, but just having the dolly up against one of the sides, then putting in the Sawzall and fitting in the tarp on the other side of that is usually the best way. But things shuffle around in there, and it is always hard to get things out. But it's mostly just because of the tarps that we always have a problem. If the tarps are too big, you can't